There you go. You're live.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to bring the audit committee for the IDA to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Great, thank you. Rose, roll call.
Diane Einen,
Here.
Faye Storms. Okay, and Mike Ham. Okay, so we have a quorum with the 2 out of 3. I know Faye was planning on joining, so I'm sure she's just a little behind. I'll shoot her a message.
Okay, sounds good. Page 3, minutes from our February meeting on February 2nd. If you could just take a few moments to review. If there's any questions. I think, Mike, you're
There
you go. There you are.
Chair, I move to accept the minutes from the previous meeting.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Rose, executive session if necessary. Anything?
Not that I'm aware of. Nope.
Okay. No old business. So we'll move into new business. So there's audited financials. Rose, I know you sent this morning some documents, the letters, right?
Yeah, I went to send it last night, but I have a new phone, so my email's not on my phone yet.
Sorry.
I tried to get it loaded last night and it wouldn't work. So. Okay.
All right. So our primary focus today is to review the audited financials for the IDA. So Lourdes, I'm going to turn this over to you because I know you've been busy working with Matthew and on these, and I guess probably best for you to present what you have at this point because I know not everything is complete, right?
Yeah, I'll let Scott and Matt steer on this, but yeah.
Well, hi Scott, sorry about that.
Scott and I went through everything with Rick was it Friday? I think it was last Friday again, and there were a couple of changes, minor things to be made, and there's still some changes to be made, but we won't be able to finalize that until we have the Paris report more buttoned up, which is totally normal. The part that has to be approved by you guys is the main financial part in order for us to submit this for Paris. So,
okay, Rose, thank you. So yeah, so the draft that you have, you'll see a few spots where there are shading. There's a shading. So all the supplemental information that comes directly from the Paris report is going to be shaded. So that's something that we're in the process of tying out with Rose and Rick to make sure that all the information that you've collected and the calculations there are presented completely and accurately. So that's something in process now. That's what we're coordinating to finish up. That will be in conjunction with finalizing the Paris report. The rest of the base of the financial statements, so the main financial statements are complete. You may see one, I think there might have been a shade just where we wanted management to expand on the highlights, to just have a few sentences added just to indicate what, the focus was for the IDA in 2020. So I think that'll be easy to add. So then what I'll do is refer to the opinion page. I'm going to refer to the page of the packet. So it would be page 10 and page 11 is the report. And you'll see that the report is unmodified. The report will reference the additional supplemental information in the back that will indicate that we have tied that out. So that's what we have yet to do. The government auditing standards report that you see in the package as well is required, and we had no findings or issues to report to the committee, so that's clean. So the report is pretty much ready to go, and there's nothing really of significance to point out to you that you would not expect in the report. If we then go to the year, as far as the results and what's in the financial statements, I'll draw your attention first to page 17, which is the statement of cash flows. The main thing that you're going to see on page 17 is that
I'm sorry, I'm not, is this 17 of our packet that you sent, Rose?
everything that I'm saying is in relation to the packet.
Got it, thanks.
So yes, on page 17, the cash flows. So when you look at the year for 2020 compared to 2019, you'll see that your cash went down from 679,000 to 182,000. Or I mean to 497,000, I'm sorry. So that decrease of 182,000 primarily was due to the fact that you had that grant program this year for the PPE, where you'll see in the cash flow statement up at the above that you gave out $159,000 in grants. So that correlates to the decrease in cash primarily. You also had a project for $150,000 where you happen to have a receivable, in the books at the end of the year as well. So while you generated revenue of that $150,000, 75,000 was in receivables, which will come through in 2021. So that would be added back to your cash. So the main thing is when you look at the numbers, I mean, that's the one thing that will stand out. You had two CDs that basically were rolled into a new CD. So you'll see that flow of cash as well. But that just basically, when you look at page 15 on the balance sheet, you'll see that the certificate deposit balance really stayed the same. You kept that invested. It's due to mature in July of 2021. Your cash balance, what we just talked about, of 497,000. Your total assets at $776,000. Your liabilities are fairly nominal. Come up with your net position of $760,000. And then page 16 gives you the actual results for the year, not on a cash basis, but on an accrual basis. And you'll see that's also consistent with what I just went through. You had a net decrease in net position of $142,000 at the bottom of the page. You'll see 3 rows up from the bottom. Again, correlating to the fact that you made a decision to have the grant program this year. All the other amounts, you can see the comparisons there, but I mean, to narrow it all down, that's what it narrows down to. We do have additional disclosures related to COVID and the risks and uncertainties related to it on page 20, but that's a standard disclosure that we're putting in every single set of financial statements that we have. So there's nothing really too surprising there. We do have the disclosure on page 21 related to the fact that you have income of $8,400 that you've generated due to the management fee that you charge the Ulster County Resource Corporation. You'll see that when we get to those financial statements later, there'll be a corresponding amount as an expense. So that's for the management fee services that you provide that organization over the course of the year. So that's disclosed as a related party transaction. That was all we had to disclose there. And then when you look at page 22, you'll see the disclosure around the fact that you had that grant program. Other than that, there really wasn't anything else to report. I think when Rose referred to the letters, I mean, there's really nothing in that letter that she's going to forward you. It's a requirement to just provide it to those charged with governance as part of the process. If we had anything of significance I felt I had to talk to you about, I'd talk to you about it right now. I've really covered everything that I feel I have to cover, and we'll be happy to take any questions.
Matt?
Yes, Rick.
This is Rick. The email that I got this morning with that extra report, I didn't get a chance to read it. How different is that from what's on page 24 and 25?
Well, page 24 and 25 is the report related to government auditing standards. So the letter you got this morning is entirely different. It looks kind of the same because it has the same type of formatting, but all it says is that we carry out the audit, and if we have disagreements with management, we have difficulty carrying out the audit, getting information, items are delayed. You know, if we had adjustments that were significant, changes in accounting policies, those are all just standard items that are in that letter. It just kind of looks like this other one, but you should take a look through and you can ask me if you have any questions, but there's nothing really in it.
Okay. The second question, again, I know this is still work in progress, and maybe it's more appropriate for the Paris discussion. Where's the list of legal actions or legal, we usually have a statement, and Joe, I think it comes from you, but we usually have a statement of legal liabilities.
There's a legal settlement. Is that what you're talking about on page 22?
Not
of
only
the packet?
settlements, but potential impacts.
Well, we're not required to include, there's nothing that's required to be said in the financial statements unless there is something that meets the criteria for disclosure or accrual. At this point, I mean, I haven't read, I mean, Scott, Joe, you're on the phone too, so I'm not sure if we collected the legal letter or anything as of yet. We usually wait to the end of the process to obtain that.
Yeah, I have a draft prepared, Rick, and it'll go out. It should go out this week, and it'll go out to Rose and to Matthew. There's been no change. There's no, I mean, obviously I need to circle back with Rose, but there's been no change since last year.
Okay.
Yeah. The one thing that we're in small claims court for is also very minor. So it's not
It's not material on
it's not
its.
material, no.
That was all
Yeah,
my
Rick.
question. Thanks.
Yeah, Rick, it would only be if something we felt was met the criteria that we had to put it in there. We do read whatever's outstanding, and then we would talk to you about that if there was something.
You would just have an attachment, I assume, as opposed to it being in the body of the report. I mean,
Well, we don't,
down and give everything dot by dot by dot. I mean, we have several things in the works where we may end up taking action, So,
well, from an accounting standpoint, we only have to disclose it or record it when it gets to the point that there's certain criteria that are met, that there's a probability of a loss.
So I guess what I'm asking you then, is it the overall cost, or are we breaking it down item per item in the report? I don't think that's necessary, is it? Or is that something you typically would do, or just have an attachment to your report?
No, it would be a paragraph in the footnote,
Yeah. Okay.
and we would not get to the level of detail that
That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Well, I think one of the things I think the board is talking about, and I think we covered, but we might not have, because I might not have thought about it in respect to the financial statements, is there are two projects that we're in the process of revising their pilots, and one that we're in the process of having the bond refinanced, but that's into 2021 now. It started in 2020. So I don't know if that makes a difference or not. I mean, it's part of the information that's in the supplementary info, but it's also not.
Normally that would not be included. The only thing that we would consider if you have a subsequent event that requires disclosure, we're going to ask you if there is anything of that nature. Again, these are
asked yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah. So we ask those questions. We have to ask that right up to the point of issuance,
Yes.
which will be coordinated with the Paris report.
Yeah. Yeah. I told her nothing.
And Joe's letter, that's why it all has to kind of come together at the same time, which is the challenge of this.
So just so, Rose, when is the Paris report due?
The end of March.
Okay. All right, thanks.
And typically, this is how the process has worked. It has been in drafts as far as the supplemental and the Paris due to the time constraints. But then the committee will still, I think, Rose, you still provide the committee the copy of the report, but that's something we'll be talking about.
Yeah, and it's after the fact at that point, but part of what has to be checked off when submitting Paris is that you all have agreed to the financials. And then as for the project information, that's like the supplementary part and the part that's submitted with Paris, the ABO considers that you already know what that information is because you've been here all year and saw the data for the projects all year. But the year-end financials, you would still have to approve.
In addition to the audited financials here.
For which, no, these year-end financials, that's what you have to approve, but it's not like the supplementary information that you don't have to approve that part, I guess.
All right. So I'm just trying to get a handle too on what we need to accomplish in this meeting to accept the financials, knowing the supplemental information still needs to be completed as we complete the Paris report. And then when we take it to the full board, we're asking the board to approve these financials as they are. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Just a couple of questions. I think pretty minor things, but in the statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position on 2019, we just don't have information like administrative fees is not listed there, what the amount was in 2019.
Because it was different. We had different categories. So we didn't have annual, that's the annual fees basically that you're seeing there. And we didn't have that in 2019.
Okay, and then under our schedule of revenues and expenditures, budget to actual,
Which page?
administrative, I'm looking at page 15.
Okay.
Sorry. There are no administrative fees that we had down for original budget or miscellaneous and late fees.
Yes, we did not. On the original budget, no. But then on the revised budget in October, we did.
Okay, so we never even set in the original budget what we thought our admin fees would be?
No, because we didn't know that they were gonna, no. At the time that I did the budget, so what the administrative fees was done in May. I came on in June and I did not know that that had happened in May.
Got it. Okay. All right. So it seems like the highlight for the financials for us is that with the revised budget, we basically came in within budget. Based on the revised budget, really close, which was great. And that the PPE is really, is what increased our expenses significantly. So it looks like to me, if I'm understanding this, seeing this, interpreting this correctly, is financially, we pretty much perform as we did last year. And then within budget, with revenues continuing to decrease.
Yeah, one of the major changes Rick and I had noted when we were going through it is there's a bit of a change in the administrative cost. So if you look on page 16, you'll notice the administrative fees is $80,000 more, but then the legal fees, that's included there in professional, is $60,000 less. So what happened in 2019 is for the almost first half of the year, Joe Scott and his firm were basically our staff. So the expenses kind of were shifted to the other spot, but it's not really changed that much overall.
Okay, so just shifted between those two line items, given who was doing the bulk of the work for the administration of the, okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? No? All right. So, Rose, we call for a motion to accept the financials, to present them to the board.
Yep.
Okay.
You so moved, Mike? Is that what you said?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wait, who seconded?
Pick one of the three.
Okay, Diane, you seconded?
I did, yep.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right. Thanks, everyone. All righty. We have no public comment, right? All right. So motion to adjourn.
I make that motion, Chair.
I'll second.
Second. Great, thanks. All right.
I may have to mute a lot because I have the town cutting trees right outside my door. So when they start cutting, it's gonna be very loud.
The
So,
town.
Thanks.
Okay,
Well,
so you're
I'll-
adjourning. You can't start the CRC meeting until 8:30. I thought that would be plenty of time, but I was obviously off for a few minutes. So Aaron, if you can cut this recording, and then we'll have to wait to start the CRC until 8:30. That went faster than I expected, guys.
We're an